Hey, welcome. Today, we are diving headfirst into the super confusing, often frustrating, and incredibly common world of the almost relationship. You probably know it as the situationship. We're going to unpack what it is, why it can hurt so much, and, most importantly, how to find your way through it.
Wow, this question just gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? It's all about that unique kind of pain, grieving something that never even got an official start. If you've ever been stuck in that confusing space, you know exactly what this feels like.
All right, first up, let's try to define the undefined. We're going to put a name to this whole experience and explore why, even without a label, it can feel just as real and just as significant as any real relationship.
So, here it is, the official definition. It's all about that gray area, right? That emotional middle ground. You've got the connection, you've got the intimacy, maybe you even have the good morning texts, but what you don't have is clarity. You don't have a shared map of where this thing is going. It's all connection with zero commitment.
And hey, if you feel like you're the only one going through this, you are so not alone. Get this, in 2022, Tinder saw a whopping 49% jump in people adding that exact word, situationship, to their profiles. This isn't some niche thing. It's practically a feature of modern dating.
You know, psychology actually has a name for this very specific kind of pain. It's called ambiguous loss. It's the grief you feel for someone who's still right there. You could text them right now, but they're emotionally gone. There's no clean break, no closure, and that's exactly what makes it so tough to move on.
So, if it's so confusing and painful, why on earth do we stay? That's the big question, right? Well, in this next part, we're going to look at the powerful psychological hooks that make these situations feel, paradoxically, so addictive.
This is such a brilliant way to put it. Think about it. The unpredictable nature of the affection. A really sweet text one day, and then total silence the next. That's called intermittent reinforcement. And every time you get that little hit of attention, your brain releases dopamine. It's that pleasure chemical. It is the exact same thing that keeps people pulling the lever on a slot machine, just hoping for that big win. You're not addicted to the person, really. You're addicted to the hope of a reward.
This feeling of being in between, researchers call it a liminal space, which is a fancy way of saying you're stuck in a hallway that never actually leads to a room. And the wildest part is that your brain gets so used to the constant anxiety of this state that it can actually start to mistake that feeling for intense attraction, for butterflies. Over time, this emotional roller coaster can create what's known as a trauma bond, which is a super unhealthy attachment that makes it feel almost impossible to walk away.
And that brings us to the most powerful force in this whole game, hope. But as we're about to see, hope can be a real double agent. It can be the very thing that keeps you trapped, or it can be the key that finally sets you free.
Psychologists make this really brilliant distinction between two kinds of hope. So on the one hand, you've got external hope. This is when all your energy is pointed at them. You're checking their social media, you're hoping they'll text, you're trying to figure out how to fix things. It feels kind of exciting, like a fast slide at a playground, but it almost always leads to emotional burnout. But then on the other side, you have internal hope. This is all about turning that focus back around onto yourself, your healing, your goals, your life, right now. It can feel really hard at first, like climbing rusty monkey bars, but this is what actually builds your strength and helps you move forward.
Okay, so how do you actually do that? Well, practicing internal hope starts with these small steps. First, just acknowledge you can't control how they feel or if they'll ever be ready. Then, you gotta consciously shift your focus to what you need. It doesn't have to be some grand gesture. Just commit to one small act of self-care, and then try setting one tiny boundary. This is how you start to take your power back.
Now, how you react in one of these situationships, well, it's not random. It's often dictated by your attachment style, that blueprint for how you connect with people, which is usually formed way back when you were a kid. This table breaks it down perfectly. So, if you have an anxious attachment style, you're probably going to crave reassurance and be terrified of abandonment, which makes you want to hold on even tighter. If you're more avoidant, you might really enjoy the connection, but hate labels because you're scared of losing your independence. Secure people, they value stability, so they're going to ask for clarity pretty early on, or they'll just walk away. And then there's the disorganized style, which is a really confusing push-pull of wanting closeness, but also being totally freaked out by it. See yourself in any of these?
This dynamic, right here, this is the engine that powers so many situationships. You have the anxiously attached person pushing for more closeness, because to them that feels like love. But the avoidantly attached person feels that push as pressure, so they pull away to protect their freedom. It creates this really painful cycle where one person's attempt to get closer is the very thing that pushes the other one further away.
And all of that brings us to our final section. Now that we understand the psychology behind it all, let's talk about taking back control. This is about moving from just thinking about it to actually doing something, making a conscious choice for your own emotional health.
I want you to really let this one sink in. You can have all the sparks, all the chemistry in the entire world, but if that person is not showing up for you consistently, it's not a stable connection. It is just chaos. And your peace of mind is worth so much more than a few fleeting sparks.
Let's be really clear about this. Asking for clarity is not being needy or demanding. It is an act of profound self-respect. It's you saying, my emotional safety matters. I deserve to know where I stand. It's about choosing yourself over uncertainty.
So, what does your path forward look like? First, let yourself grieve what you hoped it would be. That almost love was real to you, and that's okay. From now on, start choosing people who value giving just as much as they get. And please remember this. Healthy, secure love is supposed to feel calm. It's supposed to feel safe, not like an anxious roller coaster. And maybe most importantly, you do not need them to give you closure. You have the power to give it to yourself by simply accepting the reality of the situation and choosing to move forward.
And that's really what I want to leave you with today. Just take a second and really think about this question. Chasing the intoxicating what if, the potential of someone, that can keep you running in circles forever. But building a life that's rooted in peace, in clarity, and in mutual respect, well, that's where the real good stuff is found. Thanks for digging into this with me.